Alright, thank you so much, Mr. Morales, for discussing a lot of information regarding art emerging Europe. I, Kyla Antoinette Mercado, will continue the discussion, and I want you guys to stay focused and to listen to me because I will elaborate other topics under of it. I will start with neoclassicism. When we say neoclassicism, it is a revival of classical style or treatment in art. But in art emerging Europe, neoclassicism is a lot of debates within other historians because it was the beginning of modern art. Those debates are arrive because this kind of emergence during French Revolution is 1789. But other historians claim that it was happened in the year 1863, wherein there was an emergence of modern painting exhibitions. But other that, I just want you to know that neoclassicism was a movement in Europe that is transpired during 18th and early 19th centuries. It was a dominant movement that basically aimed to revive and recall the influence of Greek and Roman into art and agriculture. So give you a heads up, guys. Since Mr. Morales already discussed the Baroque period, neoclassicism arise is because of lack of restraint in spending money or use of resources. So basically, Baroque period improve the historians wants to improve the artwork in Baroque period. That's why neoclassicism movement is arise. Wherein ancient Greeks and Europeans have placed emphasis on human reason and keeping society in order. These principles also dominant principles during Enlightened period, and other historians claim that it is an artwork, an improvement artwork from Baroque period. The example that are you seeing in the PowerPoint presentation is the Judgment of Paris, wherein it was made in 1757 by Anton Raphael Mengs. Anton Raphael Mengs, and actually it was bought by Catherine the Great from the studio, meaning it's very popular and other people already known about it. Next one is Romanticism. It is also an art movement that use the central themes of neoclassicism or neoclassicist artwork as a springboard. Actually, this art, this Romanticism is during of age revolution that is focused on patriotic and nationalistic movement, wherein it became a focal focus or focal point of most romantic artworks. Honestly, guys, it includes the emphasis of the goodness of the mankind. So that, in other words, a lot of artworks are promoted the justice, equality, and social order. Artists also emphasize the emotion and feelings of man, which deviation of human principle rationalism. And on the PowerPoint presentation, there is an art there that is made by Eugene Delacroix, and it's titled, the artwork name is that of Andar Napolus in 1827. If you look at that topic, if you look at that artwork, you will identify how artists, how historians express the impression, express the artwork through justice, equality, and social in order. And to give you a heads up, that artwork is became a subject from the play by Lord Byron. And let's talk about now about realism. When we say realism from the word itself, reality or real. So this style of artwork focuses on the accuracy and details that depict somehow the reality. So from romanticism, how justice and social in order become the topic of that artwork, it becomes in deeper when we talks about realism, because it face and it gives a lot of information what happened in the reality. Honestly, this artwork emphasize the human body, so that it heavily influenced the Hellenistic Greek culture. And also this movement turning aside how the artwork in the traditional way or tradition art becomes a reality or realization of art. And in a way, not just in a way on revolutionize the themes, it also how the techniques and fittings improve, and also expanding and widening the existing notion that can be considered as a art. And to give you a heads up, guys, artists work within the context of revolution and social change, and they're just giving a lot of information what happened in the reality itself. And also, idealistic concept and images were replaced into real manifestation of the society. Like what I mentioned before, all of the imagination about the topic is already derived into reality on what happened on their society on that time. And there is a move to combine both art and life artistic and a work wherein in a modern world and are suitable for the subject of art. So the best example in realism was by Ilya Repin that you can see on your PowerPoint. It is a barge howlers on the Volga in 1870 to 1873. So this artwork was totally happened on that time and on that era. This topic will be Impressionism. That is Impressionism movement is started in France. Honestly, it led to break from traditional European period in the style of painting emerged in the mid-late 80s. Impressionist artists. The father of Impressionists is the Claude Monet, wherein on the PowerPoint presentation, we have the example of an art of Claude Monet, which is titled by Soleil Levant. When we say soleil, it is a sun, and Soleil Levant meaning is a rising sun. So Claude Monet impressed his idea about the impression on sunrise. And guys, to give you a heads up, Impressionist artists are incorporated scientific principle to achieve more distinct presentation of art. Scientific principle help the scientists to distinct for more distinction or to give other details on how they can present not just in color but also the themes and other form of artworks. And the distinct characteristic of this style is allows the artist to emphasize the immediate impression that he has particular event or scene. So it does not just talk about the reality, it talks about the impression of every artist on every event, particular event or scene, on how they express their ideas and opinions, and how they understand the situation itself. And that said impression is communicated by the artist through his artwork that can be seen by broad strokes or distinct of colors and lights and shadows used by the artist. After the Impressionism, Post-Impressionism began, wherein it also emerged in France, but it is a result of both influences and rejection of Impressionists, but late in so of inherent and close in Impressionism. So meaning, the artists in this post-Impressionism develop how artists before in Impressionism make an artwork. They develop the style and how to make better the artwork in every post-Impressionism. And you know, on this movement, the development and individual style that gave emphasis and defining with the broad and color short brush stroke. The father of post-impressionism is the Paul Cézanne, which is on the first picture that you can see now on the PowerPoint presentation. And then the other artists that are you seeing, like Vincent van Gogh, Paul and George, they are the famous artists on this movement. On this slide, we will see the two best examples of post-impressionism that is made by Paul Cézanne and Vincent van Gogh. On the first picture, it will show the reproduction made by the father of post-impressionism, and the second one is the Starry Night, which is one of the recognized pieces in art. Recognized art in the world, or in meaning or give an idea how our universal planet is beautiful. The second one is about Neo-Impressionism. Neo-Impressionism is an art movement considered as a response of realism and impressionism to get more to improve their paintings and to create a lot of artworks. And on this movement is rely on systematic and scientific techniques that has a visual effect, and not only on the artwork itself, but also on how audience or on how others will understand every paintings. George Seurat, wherein is a recorded optical sensation on more scientific manner. His color theories paved the way for the technique called pointillism. So George Seurat improved a lot of scientific manner on how they will improve every ideas about it. And pointillism means that utilizing discrete dots and dashes with a pure color. In other words, there is applied pattern to form every image. So these elements believe that if they apply it in every image or every artwork, it means that they are trying to blend with the viewer's perspective. And as you can see on the PowerPoint presentation, you can see there three pictures there, wherein they are the famous artists on this movement. Slide is will give you the best example of Neo-Impressionism, which is George Seurat made it by 1859 to 1891, an artwork titled by A Sunday on La Grande Height. And on the second one is Henry Almond Crossmade, wherein it talks about Mediterranean shores in 1895. So if you can see, if you try to analyze this image, you can see that from post-impressionism, they improve how they make art piece, on how they make artworks, wherein they conduct pattern on how to form an image. So if you try to look deeper on this picture, you can see that this picture is made by dots, or there's a form on how to make it. The topic is the Art Nouveau. Honestly, it is between 1890s to 1910s, and countries Europe and United States witness the emergence and flourishing of a new style of artwork. This often ornamental style of art was break from conservative historicism and prevailing a dominant theme of West artworks. So meaning it improved again. From neoclassicism, they improved their artwork from Art Nouveau, and a lot of work there's a lot of paintings is defining the characteristic of Art Nouveau is as systematical line. And also, it usually form an insect or wing or even flower stalks. The best example of this is made by Alphonse Mucha, an artwork that you can see in the PowerPoint presentation right now is entitled by Red Head Among Flowers. The next one is Fauvism. To give you a heads up, it is just like the Impressionists, wherein they painted it directly into nature. I mean directly from nature. And Fauvism is a style of painting that emerged in France around the turn of 20th century. And the best example of this is A Human in a Hat, wherein made by Henri Matisse in 1905. Fauvism, it was between 1907 until 1940, wherein Pablo Picasso, the artist, made an art. The title of that art is Girl in the Mandolin in 1910. On this art, you will see that they introduce a new visual arts and style called Cubism. So meaning from the word itself, it means by cube, and this style is not influence. It has a huge influence in other artists during the 20th century. Cubism highlighted two-dimensional surface in the picture, wherein it is focusing on the flat surface, was rejection of a dominant techniques like a use of perspective and foreshortening and also modeling. In additional is one of the things that Cubism rejected is existing and prevailing notation or prevailing notion that art should imitate nature. So that's the one of the ideas that Cubism made, and they are the one who should follow the procedure, follow the art that they made into one artwork, so that they can present a new depiction of reality that may appear in the fragmented objects of viewers. And then for the second one is, for the last one, we will talk about Futurism. Futurism is an early 20th century art movement that started in Italy, which highlighted the speed of energy and dynamism and power of machine art in the emerging Europe. That is not just talk about a better innovation of an artwork. It's talk about the speed and energy and dynamism on how the power machine or how technology affect the artwork. So it has a great impact and evident in poetry and visual arts. Italian poet editor Filipino Tommaso Marinetti is coined term it to futurism. Tommaso Marinetti is believed that an art should embrace and embody charge, and it should be dynamic change, innovation, and creative and originality. That's why futurism is present. The best example of this is the dynamic hieroglyphic, which is made by Severini Gino. And that's all, guys. I hope that you learn with me regarding on art emerging Europe. And thank you guys for listening.